Having a corporate or charity golf event? Backswing Golf Events can supply your tournament with personable, professional golfers to entertain and fundraise on the golf course. They can accommodate any size group, whether it be 3 players to 500. They are your team. From range lessons, Beat the Pro, and Pro-Am style roaming, they're making lasting memories one swing at a time. So make sure to check out backswinggolfevents.com or call us direct at 661-316-3093 and book your pros now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to On Par with Amanda. You are tuning into Big's Golf Talk. Thanks for being and tuning in every week. We love having you. So this week, we just finished watching the Masters, watched some incredible golf. I definitely want to talk about pre-shot routine and kind of the mental approach and kind of what separates those professionals from the amateurs, or at least what I've seen and what my whole career I've tried to become better at, and I've noticed it making a huge difference as I progress in my game and over the years. So a lot of folks have a really great idea of what a pre-shot routine is and or should be, but they don't implement it. So as we watch tour golf players, they literally do the same thing over and over and over when it is time to hit a shot. So I have had mental coaches. I've spoken with different mental coaches over the years, and they all seem to say the same thing when it comes to pre-shot routine. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it's consistent and it works for you. So I want to talk about this because I really feel that a lot of people always ask me the question, how come you just hit a bad shot out of nowhere? How come it's hard to be consistent over the course of the full day? Well, here's the deal. As you get tired, as you get adrenaline pumping in your body, maybe at the beginning of the round, all of these marks, so from the beginning to the turn to the end, there's going to be ups and downs with how you feel, how you approach your golf ball. But that's where if you have something very consistent and something that is easily repeatable, it helps narrow down the variables that you might kind of forget about or let go. So a lot of times we don't hit a great shot because A, we don't feel comfortable over the ball, which is a huge one. But why don't we feel comfortable over the ball? So I'll go over these, but we don't feel comfortable over the ball. We are still thinking about pre-shot routine stuff as we're addressing the golf ball. Or we really just have no idea and we haven't settled on something. Okay, so first, when we stand over a golf ball, sometimes you just don't feel good. You feel kind of fidgety and you stand a little bit longer over that golf ball than normal. This is terrible. This is where you need to back off, regroup, start over because your body is used to one thing. So if you stand over the ball for 5 seconds and you're a quick player and you stand there and you hit it, if you take longer than normal, that is not consistent to your body. And a lot of times we'll misfire. So why are we not feeling comfortable over the golf ball? Well, what I do notice a lot of people doing when I talk to them about pre-shot routine, I always start by saying, show me yours. And what I notice is people forget parts of the pre-shot routine. So a huge part of it is selecting your golf club. That's considered part of your pre-shot. So it's the whole package from when you approach the golf ball to getting set. Now, everything you do before hitting the golf ball needs to be planned out, thought, and handled before you step over it. So if I'm standing over my golf ball, still wondering if I have the correct yardage, probably shouldn't be standing over the golf ball. So on the flip side to that, let's start with, as we're setting up, how do you go about putting together a pre-shot routine? If you don't know how do you get there? We see these pros and they execute every shot the same way every time, but that's exactly it. So either you're a fast player or you're a slow player, and those are keyed into your personality. You can't change that. And so I'm a quick player, and I used to try to slow down. Well, I've learned that my personality is quick. I need to keep up with that quickness, but I need to have it be repeatable. So as you go and you're starting with your pre-shot routine, you need to factor in what club you're picking, the yardage, the wind, all the variables that you have to figure out what club you need to hit to execute this shot. Now, as we're done with all of the numbers and all of the figuring out, once you've selected that club, you have to commit to that. You have to say, okay, I've done my homework on the shot. I feel good about this. This is what I'm going to hit. And you can even talk this out. I really recommend for amateurs that are out when you're just practicing, talk it out, even if it's to yourself. Talk out your target, your club selection, why you're picking it, what is the wind doing. Talk it out, because when you talk it out, it forces you to create a game plan. A lot of us go up to the ball and just hit it and go, oh, how come? Oh, I didn't know the wind was doing that. But if you talk out your shot and what you intend to do, you're setting a goal, you're setting a mission for your body, and it will follow suit 90% of the time. So as I'm approaching the golf ball, you have to pick something. Maybe you like to line it up behind the golf ball and then step into the shot. Maybe you like to step into the shot, tilt your head, and look into the shot from there. It doesn't matter what your waggle is, what you do. It just has to be consistent. And so a lot of times we think that we do the same thing every time, and we actually don't, unless you are being very diligent about your way into the shot. A lot of times you leave out something. So what I advise doing is kind of figure out what you do. What do you do to waggle? Do you swing the golf club? Do you like to take 2 practice swings before stepping in and up to the golf ball? Do you like to not make a practice swing, which is okay too, and you want to just step into it? Whatever that is, you have to figure these things out. So maybe you write a list of 3 or 4 things that you like to do on a consistent basis, and actually make it a routine. So in dance, we call dances a routine. I'm going to learn the choreography. So this is exactly the same thing. You have to rehearse, you have to choreograph your pre-shot routine. It needs to look identical every single time. I had a talk earlier with Mr. Biggs, who was saying that he sometimes struggles on par 3s, and we were chatting very briefly. And it's interesting, the more I think about it, a lot of times on par 3s, because it's a par 3, we feel that we need to do something different, or we feel like we need to set up, and you might not even know that you are setting up differently. So it is very, very, very important to hone in on what works for you. And it's also very important to realize that pre-shot routine isn't just a physical action, it's creating repetition, which is instilling confidence in what you're doing. So if they always say, act like you know what you're doing, be confident, but it is true. If you stand over the ball thinking about the things that you should have already handled before stepping up to it, you're going to not feel confident. You're going to feel like you're kind of rushed, you're out of sync, and you're going to make a shot that is probably not what you intended. So pre-shot routine has a lot to it. And I think a lot of times we try to now, your pre-shot routine doesn't have to be complicated. It's very simple, but piecing it together to make sure it fits you and your golf game, that's what's complicated. You have to get it to where it is every single time you're walking through the steps one by one. One of the things I will tell you that I love about Tiger is that I don't think in a whole bunch of years he has ever not stuck with a very strict pre-shot routine. Now, as you watch, so this is your homework for this week. As you go and you watch tour golf, the women or the men, either one, you're going to see them, and I don't focus on where they hit the ball. That's when we watch golf, a lot of times we focus, but I want you to focus on pre-shot routine. What are they doing from the time they pick their club to the time they actually execute the shot? And does it look similar from shot to shot? And you'll notice that a lot of these pros across the board have very similar pre-shot routines. Not identical. I have a quirk in mind that I like to I pull up my sleeve on my left shoulder. There's things that we definitely do to make it unique. But for me, that's comfortable. That lets me know I feel confident, I feel comfortable, and I'm ready to hit the shot. Another thing is in between shots. So this is why a pre-shot routine is super important. A lot of people try to think that they should be focused for 4 to 5 hours on a golf course 100% of the time. Well, I hate to break it to you, but whether you feel determined enough to do that, our bodies and our brains were not meant for that. We cannot focus for 4 to 5 straight hours, no breaks, no other thoughts. We're just not built that way. So the best thing I can tell you is that in between shots, you need to have a trigger. So once I put on my glove, that triggers me that it is my pre-shot routine and we are now getting ready to execute. And from the time I strap my glove on to the time I take it off, that's 100% focus and dedication to what I'm doing. In between, as I'm walking down the fairway, driving down the fairway, that's you can't stay locked in and focused. You need to kind of have a little freedom. If I talk with my caddy about a lot of different things on the golf course, even from what we're eating for dinner that night to maybe just something to kind of keep my nerves down if I am nervous. But then once I walk up to the golf ball and I strap on my glove, I know that it is time to focus 100% full pre-shot routine, and I'm locked in and ready. And this is so important that I can't tell you. You're asking too much of your body to think that you need to be, I hear parents say it all the time, be 100% focused this round. I need you to focus. I need you to focus. But focus, it needs to be directed focus at what you're doing. It doesn't need to be, there's no way that anyone is going to be able to hone in for 4 to 5 hours without thinking about anything else. So this week, come up with a pre-shot routine. I'd love to see them, film them, send them in. Me and the guys would love to see your pre-shot routines. Maybe we'll feature some. But I will tell you that this will be a game changer for you. In the long run, you will see a huge improvement, and this will be something that is just, I'm telling you, a game changer. So let me know your thoughts. If you need help with the pre-shot routine, I definitely can help as well. Write into A Robertson Golf on Instagram. I love hearing from you guys. So keep all of the good comments and the questions coming. And make sure you're writing into the show, bigsgolftalk@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you as a team. Send in those videos, everyone, and we will see you next week. Until then, keep swinging for par.